Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here today, interviewing Nora Rodden. Hi, Nora. Whereabouts
Hello.
are you in the world?
I am in San Francisco, California.
Fantastic. Okay. So we're on the other ends. I'm in New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand. Now, Nora and I met through both being interviewed by Brad Fanistal, who is a mind body doctor based in Colorado. And we've both shared our journeys. Nora's, we're going to hear a bit more about today, which I'm really excited about. And hers is a lot about chronic pain. It's about gut issues, which is something that she has in common with me. And it is all about how nervous system regulation was a big key in healing. Okay, Nora, start with your story. I'm sure people are really excited to hear all about it.
Yes, thank you. No, it's always exciting to be able to share, especially when you're on the other side of recovery and you really want to tell everybody about this. So my story starts when I was in college. I was at university at Cornell University in New York, and I was a senior in college, typical college day. But unfortunately, I was hit by a car while I was walking on campus, just going to class one day. So it was a very traumatic incident. I was 20 or 21 years old, and I had to get rushed to a trauma center. They, of course, did all the scans and x-rays. And luckily, doctors said that I would heal very soon. Like didn't have any permanent damage. And my back should heal and my neck pain should heal. All of that should heal in a couple of weeks to months.
Okay, so I just want to point out there so people have an idea because I get a feeling that you kind of underplay this a little
Yeah.
bit, which is very stoic of you, but you actually had back fractures.
Yeah.
You had a serious concussion.
I did. I was diagnosed with a concussion when I went back to campus. So they didn't really diagnose me in the trauma center because in the trauma center they're just looking for like internal bleeding or they're looking for really severe broken bones or something that they can
Life
actually
threatening.
repair. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah.
I later, when I went to multiple visits on campus, they were like reviewing my scans and they were like, you definitely have a concussion. And the microfractures in my back were set to heal in a couple of weeks. But I was in a lot of pain, of course. Like I was in a lot of pain, back, low back, neck. I had to take some time off of school, but I was so type A that I like refused to take more than a couple of days, which was kind of crazy. But that was really the start of my chronic back pain because it did not heal the way that the doctors told me that it would. My concussion went away, luckily. After a couple of weeks, my concussion went away and I started to be able to process normally and my attention was sharp. So that was really, really great. My back pain, however, was just constantly there for the next 5 years. I
A
tried,
little question here, if that's okay, Nora.
yeah, yeah,
Did
yeah.
they re-scan you to see if it had actually healed so that they knew that, okay, you've still got the pain,
Yeah.
but it's healed?
Yeah, so over the next few years, I went to pain doctors constantly, and they did, yes, they would take x-rays in my back. I would take CAT scans. So yes, MRIs. Like they did the scans, and I would always come back with a diagnosis. And the reason why it's in quotes was because it was very not satisfying. It wasn't like, oh, this is why you're in pain. We get it now. All the doctors I saw, and I saw multiple doctors because I moved around a lot and these pain doctors or spine doctors, they would typically just say, "Oh yeah, I guess you have like spondylolisthesis or spinal stenosis." But a lot of people have that. So like maybe it explains it, maybe it doesn't. Those were the types of diagnoses I was getting. So they were just like, "Okay, I'm not really sure if this is an aha moment of like, yes, now we figured it out."
Okay. So it was a
Yeah.
little bit vague.
Exactly. Yes,
Right.
but I was getting repeat scans. And nothing was really helping. I saw chiropractors, acupuncture. I started to do physical therapy. I got a nerve ablation procedure where they burn the nerves in your spine, which was really painful. Like they have to put you under, I think, from what I actually. did they? I don't even remember. There were so many appointments for years. I spent a lot of money, some out of pocket. And it was a really difficult time. And I just thought, I'm going to have to manage this back pain forever for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. So this is where what we've got in common. It's the same with ME/CFS. You go through
Yeah.
all the testing, you go through the colonoscopies, you have gut
Yes.
problems, you go through the scans, the brain MRIs, and all of that. And then after all of that, it's important to have all of that done. But after all of that, it's still vague and
Yeah.
nobody really knows what to do. And you
Yeah.
actually feel like you've been sent out into the
Yes.
wilderness. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I think I spoke about that with Dr. Fanistil, where the amount of times that I would have to doctor myself. Like I would go to these offices and I would speak with the physicians and it felt like they had nothing left for me. And then I, as the patient, would have to just say, like, well, what about this thing I read online? Or what about that thing I saw on YouTube or that thing I saw on Reddit? And they'd be like, if you want to try it, we can try it. But they were no longer guiding me. I felt like you said, I was in the wilderness.
You were starting your own self-healing journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
sometimes because we're the A type and we want to find solutions, we're solution focused. We are actually glass half full people and we
Yep.
want to get better. So what happened next?
Yeah. So I was just managing my back pain for the next few years. I was living in New York City. I was working a stressful finance job. And 3 or 4 times a week in the mornings, I would go to these appointments to manage my back pain. And I was really identified with it. Like I would tell, it was like the second thing I would tell people, like, hi, I'm Nora. I have a bad back. Like, like it was just, I was
Yeah.
constantly talking about it, thinking about it. I would go to the airport and, immediately people would start to carry my bags for me because I was like, I have a bad back. I was in a car accident. Like now in hindsight, I realized I was like making it worse. I was making it my whole life.
You were sort of in that sick role and you were in that victim role, which can be very disempowering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so the next chapter here is that while I'm managing all of this, seemingly out of nowhere in this stressful finance job, I start to have really terrible gut issues. I never really had problems before, but all of a sudden, a little TMI, but I was just distended for a year. Basically, no matter what I ate, I looked like I was 8 or 9 months pregnant. Like I was so bloated and I couldn't even like suck in my stomach, which as a 21 or 2-year-old girl living in New York City, like that was so tragic. Um, but it caused a lot of like mental challenges. I felt like I was struggling with not knowing how to eat anymore, not knowing how to be full anymore, because no matter what I ate, I was just having this constant bloating. Once
Yeah,
again,
and that's the gut mind connection. It's the HPA axis. It's the motility of your gut slowing down because your nervous system is overwhelmed.
yeah.
You agree
And
with
can
that?
you believe that literally no one told me this? I went to multiple GI specialists. I went to the best of the best in New York. I swallowed camera pills. I did similar to you, colonoscopy. I did an endoscopy, and exactly the same situation with my back pain. This sweet doctor, I remember I was very fond of him, and he would just review my results and say like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's like a little bit of an ulcer formation, but not much. I wouldn't really call it an ulcer. Maybe that could be part of it, not really sure. Like he had no idea. And I was taking antibiotics. I was probably ruining my gut further by just wiping out all that bacteria and just feeling hypersensitive about everything I was eating and drinking.
Yeah, so the focus was solely on the symptoms.
Yep.
And that, of course, it exacerbates the whole nervous system thing,
Yes.
doesn't it? And
Yes.
that's Western medicine,
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then final part of the chapter before things start getting a little bit better is that I actually my third kind of big symptom was insomnia. So I'm managing my back pain. I'm managing my GI issues now. I'm basically developing an eating disorder because I've lost touch with my intuitive eating. And at this point, I go to graduate school. So it's a great recipe for graduate school. I went to Harvard Business School. I got my Master's of Science in Biotechnology and my MBA. So it was a dual degree. I was the youngest one there. I clearly have this like personality of just like go,
High
go, go.
achiever, gifted, they all go together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what do you know? Within a year of business school, again, the story all sounds the same. It's like seemingly out of the blue, one day I stopped sleeping. I just like used to sleep 9 hours a night, no problem, and then stopped sleeping. Started to get a little bit nervous one night and then like had some butterflies in my stomach, didn't sleep that night. Next night, I was like, what if I can't sleep again tonight? And then I couldn't sleep again. And then that cycle continued. And that was just, I don't know if you've ever struggled with insomnia, but it's like the worst thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Sleep is the mother of all medicines, and when you don't get it, it disrupts every area of your life.
Yeah.
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 Tough.
So that was kind of my rock bottom, honestly. I remember in between my first and second year of business school, I'm at Harvard. I have my first boyfriend who is now my husband. I had a great internship. All of these things on paper looked awesome. But I was also, it's funny enough, I was in Portugal. I was traveling. I was like supposed to be having the time of my life. And I was just having the worst possible time. Like I remember feeling like I can't move anymore because of my pain. I can't eat anymore because of my gut issues, and I can't sleep anymore. Like
So
I've
you were
just
now
lost
overwhelmed.
touch.
You were like
Yeah.
at the overwhelmed, getting to a desperate place that
Yes,
often we get to before we can head upward.
exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder if it was like a necessary evil. Do you have to hit rock bottom before
Yeah. Well,
you
I
know,
know
make
I
your
did.
way?
And I know a lot of people that have recovered did.
I know. But
Maybe.
all the work I think that both of us are trying to do is to help people maybe not get there, maybe catch this earlier.
Exactly. We don't want them to go through that. We know how horrible it feels. And yeah. So
Yeah, it was really hard. I mean, I like every time I have one of these conversations, I look back and I'm just like, I remember something new. Like, I'm actually just remembering now that along with all these major symptoms that were consuming me, I also just had like a constant chest tightness for like
mm,
what felt like at least a year or two, just constant.
yeah,
Like my heart felt like it was like squeezing in on itself. And I lived like that all day, every day. And it was just this constant fear. And keep in mind, I had never heard of nervous system regulation or a mind body approach. No one had ever
yeah.
holistically looked at all of my symptoms and said, maybe there's a theme here.
Absolutely. Now, I want to bring in something here because this is an interesting fact, and this is perhaps an example of how you can intellectualize something but not embody it, which I know that you do now completely, and maybe you did back then, but you're yoga teacher trained. And so that's
Yeah.
like very much you learn how to tune into the feelings in your body and the sensations.
Yes. So
Love
I
to hear a
became,
little bit about that. When did
yeah, no,
you
I,
do
so
it?
I became a yoga teacher after I recovered from chronic symptoms.
Ah, there we
And,
go. I
and,
knew
and
I knew that would be the case.
100% because I think you're absolutely right. First of all, when I learned about yoga and I became a yoga teacher, you realize that, I mean, actually, the word yoga, I think, means to yolk, which means to yolk like in unison your mind and your body. They are very mind body approach. Like yeah. So
Yeah,
there's no way
instinct,
I think I could have been a
instinct.
yoga teacher and not known these things.
I'm relieved because I'd feel sorry for you. I'd feel sorry for your students if that was the case.
I
Now
know,
you're
right?
an expert at it. Yeah. So that's it,
That's
isn't it? We
funny.
get all these sensations that we ignore because we're operating out of here, and the
Yep.
connection between here and the body really needs some work on it.
Yep. Absolutely.
So what
Um,
worked for you? This is what everybody's wanting to.
Yes, I know. Now that they've painted the picture of how bad life was.
Yeah.
So I was on campus, came back from that Portugal trip. I was in a really bad state of mind, and two things happened. One, a friend sent me a meditation app that I really love. It's called Waking Up, Sam Harris's app. I love it. And it was maybe because I was in that rock bottom place, I was receptive to mindfulness for the first time. I was kind of like, okay, like maybe my thoughts are causing my own suffering in some way. And in the exact same week that I learned about meditation and kind of actually tried, I also saw a poster for a clinical research study recruiting participants for a chronic back pain trial using a mind-body approach, and I enrolled.
Things were starting to align for you.
Yes, literally in the same week. It's so crazy that both those things happened.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And so this research study was Dr. Michael Danino's research study in psychophysiologic symptom relief therapy. It's kind of a handful, but really it's a mind-body approach. It's a nervous system regulation approach for chronic pain. And they were trying to rigorously study it in a randomized controlled clinical study. I was desperate. I was at rock bottom. So I was like, why not? I gave this number
Okay.
a call and I
Okay, can I
enrolled in
stop
this
you there for a
clinical.
minute?
Yeah,
Because I think
yeah,
there's a really important point here
yeah,
for people out there that are feeling like they're at rock bottom. Okay,
yeah.
being at rock bottom is the receptive time because you see, to have the motivation to actually be more curious and to try
Right.
new things, that has to be easier than where you're at.
Yeah.
So
That's beautifully
it's
put.
not
Yeah.
necessarily try to frame it like that, that, you are like, oh my gosh, what can I do? I don't know what to do now. The receptivity is amazing now. This is
Yeah.
your timing. This is your
Yeah.
window. Okay.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think it's really great because I often try to go back and remember like why is it that I was receptive at the time that I was? Like I'm trying to put together a formula, now that I'm like helping people, I really want to when people ask me like, well, what made you receptive to the clinical trial? And I try to remember exactly because
You were
sometimes
so
it's hard to
uncomfortable
explain.
that you wanted
Yeah.
to just find something to get comfort. Was it as
Yeah.
simple as that?
I think so. I think like
Yep.
at the end of the day, you'll try anything if
Yep.
you've tried everything.
I was the same. I entered a program because I just
Yeah,
was like, I surrender.
right. Right.
Surrendering is part of it.
And
Surrendering and accepting
100%.
that you haven't got the answers. And for people like us that really think that we should be able to find the answers, that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And all of the advice out there was kind of like more stimulating. It was all like do more. And like for example, with my insomnia, everyone, even the people with great intentions, they were all telling me, what about sleep hygiene? What about not using your phone before bed? What about blackout curtains? What about melatonin? And those are all great things to do. There's nothing wrong with that. I also encourage all those things. But if you have insomnia, which is like a fear loop that you are in, then telling someone to do more and to like put more pressure on you have to sleep is so important, that was just causing me so much misery. And what this clinical trial taught me for a different symptom for back pain was
Yeah.
to do less.
Less is more. Oh my gosh, it's like let go of the grip because you're
Yeah.
burning energy by doing
Yes.
it and you're resisting. That is
Yes.
such a good point. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So this clinical trial, people always ask me like, was it magic? What did they teach you? No, it wasn't magic. It was just simply a mind-body approach. So essentially, it was for back pain. We met virtually once a week, I think, for a couple of months, small group. And it was like one-on-one with a human mind-body coach. And we just learned a lot. It was a lot of education, the typical stuff you could find online. Dr. John Sarno, there were videos about how the brain and the body are connected, how the brain can perpetuate chronic pain. There were case studies. We would learn about how, I think one I remember right now is, oh, in Lithuania, whiplash doesn't exist because,
Seriously?
yeah, this is just something I remember learning is like, in the US and in other countries, we have like a very high incidence of whiplash. You get into a car accident and then afterwards you have like neck pain and whiplash symptoms. But in Lithuania, they don't even have the term whiplash. And so they don't
Ah,
really get whiplash. And that was just one example. It's kind of silly when you think about it, but it was one example that they were trying to teach us this, like they were trying to get us to buy in to this model, to this concept that maybe, just maybe, your chronic back pain is caused by your brain and by your environment, like your social context and your stress and your trauma, rather than
Yeah.
just issues in your back.
And it's also real. The pain is
Yes.
real. It is a physical thing, but the root of it is coming from up here, not at the
Yeah.
actual injury. Yeah.
100%. And I often talk about like I'm as you can probably tell, like I'm very like type A. I'm very scientific. So when I first enrolled in this study, I was skeptical just like everyone else is. I asked the same questions. I was like I was hit by a car. I don't just like have pain. I was hit by a car. I had a real trauma. I can point to it. And the doctor that was enrolling me in the study, Dr. Danino, he just really had a way, I think, of being very human and saying, you know what, like he's also had chronic pain and that pain is real. But at the same time, if it's not healing after a couple of years, then probably there is something else going on. And modern medicine just simply doesn't work with that. So yeah, that's kind of the key reason I decided to enroll. And we did some exercises. So there were a couple of like somatic tracking exercises that I learned about. We journaled quite a bit. We did some meditations. But honestly, I would say like 80% of the treatment was education.
Empowering, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
empowering. Okay, so I'm hearing that you must have recovered through all of this. Is this what happened?
I did. So after it happened pretty quickly. So we were taking these pain scores, these pain surveys, 0 to 10. I think it was once every week. And I was like maybe at a 6 or 7 at the start. And then by like week, I don't know, 5 or 6, I remember just being like 0, 0, 0, 0. And that sounds miraculous as I say it now. But at the time, it was like I just gradually returned to my life. I was a business school student. So I just kind of like started to realize, okay, this makes a bit of sense. Now let me go return to my life. And
Yeah.
the aha moment for me was when I self-applied all of these same pain concepts to my gut issues and to my insomnia with success. And that's when my mind was like blown.
Okay. Oh, that's fantastic. It's your focus shifted.
Yes.
It shifted from focusing on your symptoms to
Yes.
focusing on your life, which is
Yes.
which is a really good thing, and what you focus on
Yes.
grows. And this also points out to me the importance of having a mind, body, spirit approach. So it's like the spirit is do what makes you happy. You're passionate about your work. You started throwing yourself back into that. Your
Yes.
mind is now out of that limbic system stress loop of thinking about symptoms and the messaging going down to your autonomic nervous system, which then disrupts the balance of your physiology because, your autonomic nervous system is the master regulator of your
Yes.
physiology. So this is fantastic. I love it. It's
Yeah.
right up my alleyway.
No, I remember thinking like finally it makes sense. Like finally these random chapters of my life are starting to make sense. Like anxiety is part of this. So it's anxiety and then it's the pain and then it's the GI symptoms and it's the insomnia. And when I was younger, I would pick my nails constantly and my cuticles. Like my life for the first time started to make more sense. I was floored that nobody had told me about this before. And then I became a yoga teacher because I was starting to get really interested in, like you said, mind, body, spirit. I moved to San Francisco after graduating. I was working in biopharma for a couple of years, but then I just realized like I'm spending all this time working on pharmacological approaches, like drug approaches to symptoms, when I got better using a mind body approach.
So that was
So
no
then I
longer aligned for you.
no longer aligned. I quit my job and I started Nirvana. So,
Fantastic. I love Nirvana. I've had the luxury of being able to have a go on it, and only someone that has had lived experience would have been able to design it in the way that it's designed. And I know working as a coach that a lot of my clients they can message me in between sessions,
yeah.
and health is 24/7. You
Right.
don't just bring it to a session once every 2 weeks and that's all there is. And
Yeah.
you've already talked about the fact that, when you're in that situation, you are thinking about your symptoms, you are thinking about how your life has changed. So to
Yes.
have something that's available at your fingertips
Yeah.
24/7
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, that's really
So
the intention. So, I mean, for those who maybe don't know what Nirvana is, it's a mobile app for people with chronic neuroplastic symptoms. We don't discriminate based off of like pain or GI. You can really choose any of these symptoms because I believe that they're really interconnected. And I personally had so many different ones. So you can choose multiple symptoms and you get guided in daily sessions with a Nirvana conversational AI coach. And there's an ability to book time with a human mind body coach as well. So we're trying to really be an integrated
wrap
mind
around.
body solution. And honestly, my intention was I just want to package what was in my clinical trial and put it in an app. I just want it to be accessible.
That's right. And it is. It's accessible. And I'm like I'm nearly 60. So for me in apps, it's like, here we go, another tech thing. But I
Yeah,
actually found my way around it really easily. And I think that's important for a lot of people,
yeah,
specifically because, they may have concussion, they may have chronic fatigue and their brains are slower. And so the
right.
thought of having to do another thing, it is easy. It is
Yeah,
easy.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm so glad, and I hope people try it. There's a free trial, so they can give it a shot, see if it works for them, if they like it. And if not, that's okay too. Everyone has a different way of recovery, and their journey is going to look different than someone else. But I just wanted to bring something else to people that worked for me.
Good on you. And you're now sort of by doing that, do you feel like you're aligned and how's your life going?
It's a great question. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm way more fulfilled than I used to be. But I'm also more upregulated because I care so much about it. So I'm hyper focused on like, oh, I just got a message from someone. I have to respond. I have to fix this thing. So it's been really interesting having this journey as a founder of a nervous system app and feeling like I need my own support with nervous system regulation. So luckily, I'm able to ward off like chronic physical symptoms, or if they do arise, I know that they will pass, which is great.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think like it's a lifelong journey. I'm not miraculously recovered forever. It's like you just have to have these skills that you build.
And embody them and
Yeah,
it just or make them habits first. Like you're obviously picking up that, you're throwing yourself into the work that there's these old patterns that are coming forward that
yeah,
because it really to get better, what got you sick is not going to get you better.
yes,
And so
yes,
your approach to life really, really does have to change. But those old patterns are really grained. They're
yeah,
ingrained. And so just having an awareness of them and being able to think, here I go. I can feel it in my body. I'm starting to tense up. I need to answer that person now. And I get
yes,
it. I'm the same. And having
yes,
the
yes,
discipline to just breathe and stop and think, actually, I don't have to do this today. That can
yes,
wait.
absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So Nirvana, the app is, I want to recommend it because I don't recommend things that I don't think are great. And this is not a selling thing. This is simply, I love the idea of bringing to the forefront for people options, like you said.
Yeah,
And, someone might go on there, but I can't imagine that there'd be many people that it won't suit. Um, I think timing is an important thing. So obviously,
yeah,
when I say that, we have people that are bedbound. So how
yeah,
could Nirvana work in that scenario with
yeah.
severe, like MS?
Yeah,
Yes. Would it be an appropriate thing, or does it need to be introduced when they get to a stage of perhaps being housebound
yeah.
and further on?
So we have had people in pretty severe physical situations, and they've found it to be very supportive. We do limit the amount of time that people can have these coaching sessions with the coach intentionally, so that
Fantastic.
people are not too identified with recovery. But ultimately, yeah, I think everyone is on their own journey. We believe that, starting small, like 10 to 15 minutes every other day, maybe, and just seeing if that works with you, is yeah, something that we'd encourage people to try. And if it doesn't work with you, that's okay too.
Right. Is there like a period of time where they can have a free trial?
Yes, 3 days, 3-day free trial
Okay.
for
Good.
everybody. Yes.
Fantastic. All right. So how are you completely working for Nirvana now and
Yes.
that's what you're doing.
Yes.
Congratulations. Well done.
Thank
I'm so
you.
glad you're on your aligned path.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Nora. It's been, is there anything else you'd like to add today?
No, this has been a pleasure. It's been so fun to share with you, and I hope that people learn from this. And if they're interested, I believe you have a link. So trynirvana.com. That's NERVANA.com/Felicity.